Question everything. For the truth should not be televised, and that's for sure. So with that, we had this incident out there in Times Square out there in New York. Now, if you've been to Times Square, you know how lit up that always is and how popping that always is happening out there in Times Square in New York. It's a lot going on, a lot of people moving around, a lot of tourists, coming to shop, coming to see New York and enjoy themselves. But at the same time, you got, allegedly some Venezuelan young youth, from what they say, out there shoplifting. Allegedly. You got to say that. But here it is, they out there shoplifting, they get busted by undercover security, and the items, they get taken back. But in that, you had one of the 15-year-olds who's wearing a white sweater at the time, decided he was going to clap back at the security guard, even though the security guard didn't clap. She just took the material back. So he claps at the security guard and goes on a run, take the sweater off, whatever, hit the subway and all this. And the police and everybody was there. Now, my thing is, they say the police did the right thing because there was a lot of people there, so they didn't clap back. And that was interesting to me. Why? Because my thought was like, wow, here it is, you got an armed gunman, armed suspect, and he's actually clapping at an undercover security guard, hits a pedestrian woman who was out there, as a tourist, allegedly, and they don't clap back. The police, they say it was too many people out there for them to clap back. And my thing is, what do you guys think? Would that be the same narrative and the same thing that happened if it was an Aboriginal Negro of America that was actually doing the clapping at that time in Times Square? The police would have just let them run away and then put a surveillance out to find them. Do you think that would have been the narrative of what would have happened if it was you and I that did that type of play out there in Times Square? Or do you think that it would have been an all-out at the individual that would have been melanated? Do you think that would have happened if it was us? And that's the real reality, When it comes to other nations and come to dealing with other nations, for some reason, there's no need for reform for the police. They know exactly what to do and how to de-escalate the situation. But when it comes to our people, they always escalate the situation. They never know what to do. They're always afraid for their life when you only got your wallet in your hand. But when it's an actual person actually out there allegedly clapping, that's not one of us, some reason they got all the restraint in the world to not clap back and not delete this person off the planet. Got all the excuses in the world. And that's what they're giving you now. He's not even a criminal in their eyes. He's a juvenile who was breaking the law. We don't even get that. We don't get seen as an individual or as a person that has a reality that need to be safeguarded. They do whole background checks and make sure that they can demonize you to the fullest. When you're in the light of being a criminal, you're not seen as a juvenile, you're seen as a criminal. But in this case, he's a juvenile that they gotta go find. And don't get me wrong, I don't advocate for violence from nowhere, for nobody whatsoever, in no way. And I definitely don't like to see no individual human or any humans deleted off the planet, because at the end of the day, life is precious. There's a way to deal with everything. Now there's certain levels to that I'm saying, because, I don't really think certain groups of people that falls under certain categories can be rehabilitated at all. And they need to be dealt with a certain set way, especially people that hurt little babies and children. So with that stated, what are your thoughts? Was Trump right when it comes to the borders and letting all these people coming in and not knowing who is actually coming into the country, and if they're going to be coming in with records from their land a mile long or coming out of their prisons from their countries? Do we know anything about these people in the sense of what they're bringing to America? Because at the end of the day, when you don't got no real checks or border checks, on the backgrounds of the people that's coming in, then you can be getting any type of people. You can be, I mean, when I say any type of people, you can be getting some of the low of the low of the low coming into the country, and they can just maneuver and move around and move right next to you and your babies. And they can be, who knows? You know what I mean? That dude that played soft. You never know. Because they're just letting them in without no real strong check. And in that can be very dangerous. Because, you know, like what Trump said, you know, there's a lot of different types of criminals. There's a lot of different types of cartels coming in. And if you don't know who these people are, how could you debunk that this person is a cartel or some type of criminal or some type of worse than that? You know what I mean? So now you have this situation in New York where 2 cops get bum rushed by like 10 people. And now you got another incident here where they clap at the undercover security and the police. And the question is this stuff going to get worse or is it going to get better? Because if you don't know who's coming in the country and you can't really control the narrative of what type of people is coming in the country, and if you can't control the narrative of what type of people coming in the country, then obviously you can be getting a lot of bad seeds. And if you're going to get a lot of bad seeds, do you want those bad seeds living next to your children in your house? Well, this is the reality of what we're dealing with. And this is what open borders and no background check really actually opens the door to. Because at the end of the day, you and I already know, to be an American citizen, they'll background check you to death. Even if you just wanted an everyday job or housing, you will definitely get checked thoroughly as a citizen. But for some reason, the people that's coming over the borders, they don't have to be checked to get nothing. I mean, they get anything they want. And that's just ludicrous, if you ask me, because what's good for us should be good for them. And in turn, what's good for them ain't even happening for us. Go figure, right? Because at the end of the day, for all the homeless people and all the people that's struggling in America, they're not getting nothing free, never alone getting anything that can actually help them resource-wise to be able to better their lives, thus the homeless population. And in turn, you got people coming in seeking asylum, and they're getting a red carpet. And sad to say, if that shooting can happen broad daylight in Times Square, or police can get bum rushed the way they got bum rushed, and there's no recourse for that, then these things can continue to happen. And if they don't care about the police coming into the country and willing to do things against the police, what do you think they'd be willing to do against you and I? And with that, I just don't get it. I just don't understand it. But that is the question. You let me know. Peace, peace.